Hello everybody. I was trying to think of some of the most useful things I could show people how to do in Linux, and one of the things that came to mind, number one, is how to install a Windows wireless driver for all the Windows users that are interested in Linux and installed it side by side with Windows and they're not sure how to get wireless to work. Um, Now, don't get me wrong, pretty much all the distributions now, the major Linux distributions, support a ton of wireless cards now, way more than they used to. I don't even know if I've had trouble installing, having any of them get recognized out of the box. But you may have to install it with a Windows driver. It's uncommon, but like I had actually a good use for it, so I'm going to show you exactly how to install a Windows wireless driver in Linux Mint 12 specifically, and also for other, just any other system, period. Uh, so let's start out with Linux Mint 12. It comes with a an application called Windows Wireless Drivers, I believe. Yep, and it's in your system menu. So if you're in Mint 12, you can just search for it. Just type wireless and right up there, and then you'll see right here. Here's one of the other things I don't like about GNOME 3 is it cuts off the titles of the applications, kind of defeats the purpose. And I don't seem to get any type of tooltip that pops up or anything, so I don't know what that's about. Anyway, you can see I've already got a driver installed, so I'm not going to apply any commands. I don't want to screw up my current configuration, but I'll show you exactly how to install the driver. So first of all, you will need your Windows wireless driver. You need the actual driver files. I'll show you what I mean here. I have my wireless drivers on the desktop. Vista XP. You'll usually see some kind of folder in the when you extract the drivers from, if you download the zip file or self-extracting exe file from the manufacturer. It should list folders similar to this, and what you want to look for is a .inf file. And this is mine right here. Now, there's also another one. So the easiest way to figure out what the file would be is just, I guess, to install it, and then if it says that there's no hardware detected, then you install the other one. But most times, you shouldn't have two INF files like I do. So you need these files, driver files, and really I think it only follows this one, the INF file. So I've got that. So I'll close that out. Go to install new driver, and now it wants to know where the driver file is, the INF file. So just click on that to browse, and let's see. I'm going to go to my file here, go to wherever folder you saved the driver files, and then you would select the INF file and click open. And then this will kind of freeze for a second because it'll load the driver into the system and it installs it, so just wait for it to finish, and then you should have a screen that looks similar to this. It'll say hardware present, yes. Now you still won't have any wireless yet, even though it says that the hardware is present and it looks like the driver was installed. The next thing is I'm going to open a new terminal window. You can just ignore this one, all that garbage in it. Whoops. So the next thing you need to do is, there's a command that the wireless utility is good, but it doesn't quite fully do everything automatically. So next thing you need to do is run, I believe, sudo modprobe ndis wrapper. And I'll zoom in so you can see the command. and you press enter. Now I'm not going to do it, as I said before, I don't want to mess up my configuration, but when you press enter, then you will see in a few seconds, you should be able to see up here, it won't, your network icon won't quite look like this, but if you click on it, you should see wireless, and then you should see a list of your networks. So that means it's installed. Now there's one more thing that you'll have to do. I noticed that this was new in Ubuntu 11.10 based distributions. Namely, Linux Mint 12 is the one that I noticed the issue in, and that's if you reboot the computer, it's not going to connect, it's not even going to have the wireless card there anymore. It won't initialize it. So what we have to do now is, for good measure, we're going to write the configuration to the modules file, which you don't really have to know what that means. We'll just run these 3 commands. Sudo ndis wrapper -m. You run that one, then press enter, and then the next one that you're going to run, just pretend that I hit enter, is the same thing but with an MA, and then another one with MI. And so you're going to put all those 3 different commands and press enter after each one. And then, once that's finished, I kind of traced back to where the file is written, where the configuration is written, and I found out why it's not initializing. If we go to, man, where is it? I think in your etc folder, here it is, modules.conf, conf. This is where the configuration's written, but I've been using the older versions of Ubuntu for a long time, and I noticed that's not where the original ones saved the configurations. They save them in the modprobe.d folder, and this is normally where a file called ndiswrapper.conf would be written, and that's what it wants to see. So that modules.conf file that we just looked at should really be here in ndiswrapper.conf in the etc modprobe.d file. So what you want to do is when you open the etc folder, you want to open it as administrator, right click, open as administrator, and let's go down here, modules.conf, and there's 2 ways you can do it. Just create a new tab and browse to the modprobe. Oh man, sorry, the modprobe.d folder, and if you, man, I'm getting all mixed up with these files. Okay, if you use your middle mouse button, hold down the middle mouse, the mouse wheel button on the file, and drag it over to this tab, and then release the button. It'll say link here, and then you click link here. Now there's modules.conf, and then you simply just rename this to ndiswrapper.conf, which I already did, and it basically tells the system to see ndiswrapper.conf as the modules.conf. So it basically fakes the system out and links it to the real file, but that's what the system wants to see, is that ndiswrapper.conf. So now if you make any changes or add wireless devices, it'll write to the other file, but because you have this link here, it'll update automatically. You don't have to keep copying the file over. That would be the benefit of using a symlink rather than actually copying this file over. You'd have to constantly copy this new file to this folder in modprobe.d if you were adding new devices, new wireless devices. So And that's pretty much it. Then when you reboot, you should have a wireless card every time. Now, for the people who have Ubuntu systems that don't have NDIS wrapper installed, or that Windows Wireless utility installed by default, you will, if you can't get a connection at all, if there's no way you can get a wire, hardwire the computer to get a connection just to install the Windows network drivers utility, or wireless network drivers utility from the repository, then one thing you might be able to do is open up Synaptic on another machine. If you have another Ubuntu machine that's got internet access, and you find NDIS wrapper. Now, let's see, NDIS wrapper utils. That would be the one. Now, since I already have it installed, I'm going to show you how to do it with a different package. But basically, you would select the package, and when you click apply, click download package files only, and then click apply instead of cancel like I did. And when that's finished, it'll download the file for you, and then you simply go to this folder, which I had open previously. It's in the root of your system, var/cache apt, and then go to archives, and then you simply look for NDIS wrapper here, and copy it to a flash drive or something, and then you can simply double click on the file in your system, and you should get a package installer. And then this is saying reinstall, obviously, because I already have it, but if you don't have it on the system already, you click install, and that's it. You might have to get multiple packages if it has dependencies. So if you do that in Synaptic, it might say that other packages need to be installed as well. When you mark NDIS wrapper for installation, make a note of what those packages are, and then copy all of them to the flash drive, and then go to your system that needs the wireless driver installed. And now you won't have this GUI, this little window, you won't have this little program here to do anything for you, so I'm going to show you how to very easily install it without that utility. So let's go to let's say this is where my drivers are. So once you copy the program over and install it, go to the folder where you copied your drivers, and we want to open the terminal in this folder. So if you have the dialog box where you can right click, and if you have the open in terminal option, great. Otherwise, you'll have to open the terminal and type cd/home/username/ wherever the folder is that contains the drivers, and then simply type NDIS wrapper. Actually, I'm sorry, I think you need sudo. Yeah, you need sudo NDIS wrapper -i -i for install, and then the file name. So for me, it would be netw5x32.inf, and it is case sensitive if you're unfamiliar with Linux in the command line, and then press enter. And then next thing you do is you want to run sudo NDIS wrapper -l, and I can hit enter on that one. It doesn't change anything. It lists the driver, and then it'll say the driver's installed, and it'll tell you that it's present if hopefully it sees your hardware. And then we need to do the same thing that I did before, that I showed you with sudo NDIS wrapper. Let me get my terminal on the Let me zoom out just a little bit. Okay, Indus Wrapper space dash M. You run that, hit enter, and then do MA dash MA and hit enter again on that command, and MI and hit enter. So you do all those 3 commands, and you pretty much follow the same instructions as before, as I just showed you. Now, if you're on something other than Ubuntu 11.10, you might not have to do the extra part of creating the symlink. So to find out if you need to do that or not, just go back to your etc folder, etc, and modprobe.d folder, just like before. And if you see a file already that's called enduswrapper.conf, you don't have to create that symlink because it's writing the configuration in this folder like I guess the system wants to see. Now, if you don't see it, then go back and in your etc folder, type modules, look for this file, and just create the symlink over to the modprobe.d folder and rename it to enduswrapper.conf like we did before. And then, and of course the last thing, need a new terminal window. Last thing, of course, is sudo modprobe enduswrapper. Now, it doesn't matter when you run that command after you've written the configuration. You do have to do it after you've done the commands, the enduswrapper-m-a-i. After you run all those commands, then do sudo modprobe enduswrapper and press enter, and you should get wireless right away. And then if you've done everything else that I showed you, you should get it every time you boot up. And so hopefully that helps some people out there, because I know. Oh, and I need to tell you my experience with the wireless. Why I had to. Now, my wireless card was detected in Linux Mint 12. It came up fine. I was able to connect to the network, but the problem was that it was really, really slow. I mean slow. My router's configuration pages, which are on the local network, and they take a second to load because it's so small, they took over a minute to load sometimes. I mean, it was just struggling beyond belief. So what I had to do is take away all of the wireless drivers that are in the system by default. There's Ucode files, and for their firmware files that help the system communicate with the wireless card, and I had to basically take them out of the folder that they reside in so the system wouldn't load my device, my wireless card, and then I had to install the Windows driver the way that you just saw me do for Mint 12, and that took care of the problem. So that might help anybody if you've got speed issues with your wireless cards in Linux Mint 12 or Ubuntu 11.10, anything like that. So if you want to see, just for the curious users, let's go to the file. Let's go to the file system here. I believe it's from the root file system, you go to the library folder, or lib, L-I-B, and then firmware, and in here, now see, I can't speak for every wireless card, but the drivers for mine were here. Actually, you know what? But they're not here. I removed them. I moved them over to, actually, let me just open any folder as administrator to get root privileges. In root's home directory, I moved them over here. IWL, Wi-Fi, dash whatever, any of those files, those Ucode files, I moved all of the Wi-Fi ones out of the folder. Now I don't know if that works for every wireless card or just mine or just the Intel based Wi-Fi link cards, but if you want to try it, you can try it on your wireless card and see. If it doesn't work, you just move the files back. No big deal. So yeah, I moved those out. I rebooted the system, and it didn't detect my wireless card as I hoped it wouldn't. And then I installed it with NDIS Wrapper, as you saw before, that method that I just showed you. And everything's working fine now. It runs real fast. So that's it. I just thought that'd be useful for people having wireless problems in Linux Mint 12 or Ubuntu, anything, any Linux distribution really, but namely anything based on Ubuntu, the newer ones especially. So that's it. I hope that was helpful.